Today on episode 100 of Typical Chicago Fans, we have Sinkers and Floaters, the TCF Sports Minute, Top 100, our media recommendations, everyday Madden ratings of Chicago jerseys, and a TCF Top 3 of TCF Guests and Moments. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to episode 100 of Typical Chicago Fans. Yes, it is episode 100 since we technically restarted the count, but for all intents and purposes, we made it to 100. It is me, Boomy, on Twitter at BoomyTCF. Make sure to follow the main page at typical_Chicago on Twitter. Head to Facebook and Instagram. Type in Typical Chicago Fans. You can find us there. Head over to the YouTube as well. Subscribe there for all of our content in video form. Just type in Typical Chicago Fans. Hit the red subscribe button. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating. You can roast me in there. Feel free. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. You can find us there. But make sure you follow the guys that I'm joined with tonight. That is Zach at Z, Lilia TCF, and of course, Maddie at schools_01. Our episode today is brought to you by our friends over at 26shirts.com Chicago. Head over to their website, 26shirts.com/Chicago, to check out some of the coolest Chicago sports merchandise around. They've got everything you see from the shirts I have here, hats, hoodies, flags, whatever you need. They're super comfortable. Great clothes. Like I said, head over to their website, find the product that you love, use promo code Typical Chicago Fans at checkout for 15% off of your order. If you love the show, love great Chicago merch, love companies that help out great causes, 26shirts.com/Chicago. 26shirts.com/Chicago. Use promo code Typical Chicago Fans for 15% off. Boys, episode 100. It has been a while since we have done a full-blown podcast. We've been doing daily shows. Life got busy the last couple months, but here we are. We made it to episode 100.
It's been a wild journey to 100. I don't know. It's probably actually...
It's 129.
Oh, well, I didn't know you knew that.
Yep, I got it right down every episode.
Of the podcast, we've also got the morning shows and stuff, but is this since we've been on like all platforms?
Yeah. So this is basically once we moved from just SoundCloud to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. So
SoundCloud's like the lost files, isn't it? Like that's like the B-sides or something,
Yeah, exactly. It's there's some really interesting episodes in there. We'll get to a couple of them early on. Like our first couple episodes, we were recording around one microphone plugged into Zach's computer. Phone calls with different guests, and we've come a long way. That's for sure. A little over 3 years.
Yeah, it's been fun, and what we get rewarded with on the 100th episode is Justin Fields.
Yeah, right, baby. We got a QB now. We got a QB.
We were waiting for the 100th episode for us to get a QB, and we got one. So we had.
It took 100 years. It took 100 years of Bears football to finally get somebody to bring a little bit of hope, a little bit of excitement back to the quarterback position. Pretty pumped.
Well, as always, fellas, let's jump into it with our sinkers and floaters. I'm going to start off a little different. I'm going to start with floaters first this week. And my floater is fat guys like myself. And that is because the Girl Scouts, not only can you buy your delicious Girl Scout cookies online, but they have teamed up with a tech company in Virginia, I believe. And they are now delivering cookies via drone. So if you don't want to wait for your cookies to come in the mail, if you live in the Virginia area, this is obviously going to expand. We've talked about it before, Amazon delivering via drone. Now you can get your delicious Thin Mints or Samoas dropped off right at your front door.
Just keep the Samoas. Let's just be real here.
That's a bad take.
I don't want a drone of Samoas coming in.
So this drone just drops off the cookies at your house?
Yeah.
Like I could just see you're laying in the backyard, just like chilling, got a nice cocktail in one hand, and all of a sudden a box of tag alongs just boom lands in your palm. I don't necessarily hate it. Don't hate it.
No, not at all. But it's a struggle. You know, I've been trying to drop some LBs here lately, but they're making it really, really hard when they're just going to deliver cookies to my house.
The Girl Scouts of America, it's pretty fascinating, some of their sales tactics too. Like they were like first setting up shop like outside of dispensaries in Colorado, like the marijuana dispensaries. So they set the tables out there. That's just genius. Absolutely genius. I love it.
I got hit up. This was over like early April. We were up in Rockford. We were at Binny's Beverage Depot, and they were set up right outside there. And I'm like, I'm going to buy a couple boxes. I've only got a 20. I'll take 4 boxes.
A Sunnyside dispensary, and then there's Binny's. Here you go. Get best of both worlds.
Exactly. They're geniuses, and now they're going to deliver them to your house and make it even easier. You can already order them online, and they can be shipped. But if you don't want to, wait for FedEx or, USPS, drone will drop them off right at your house. What a world, fellas. What a world.
I like it.
Maddie, what is your floater this week?
Well, with the nicer weather that we've been getting lately, the one chore I don't hate, like the one chore that I don't want to make, poke my eyeballs out, it's mowing the lawn, because my yard isn't huge, but it's big enough that it gives me something to do to like just get out of the house for a little bit, some task to put my mind on or whatever for a little bit. And, so mowing the lawn's back, pretty jacked about that. Pretty good way to go to, kill 2 hours of the day here on the weekends right now while it's nice out. Once it starts getting hot, that's going to suck. But mowing the lawn, it's nice. It's like the sign, like, especially the first couple times, you get the blade change, you get the oil change, you get like that vibe that, summer's approaching, spring's here, the weather, it's finally, the shit weather is behind us. And Joey Gallo just an absolute tank, by the way, boys. But
it's also back, Maddie, that beer after that.
Yeah. The noon beer on a Saturday. Noon beer on a Saturday after mowing. Oh, baby.
At least 2 to 3 days, your yard looks pretty decent.
Yeah. Especially right now, you get a little bit of the rain still. It wasn't too bad in April, but get some rain going. The green starts popping a little bit. You feel like you can kind of play the gusta here in your front yard for a couple weeks anyway. Then June hits and browns you out like a barbecue, but whatever.
My floater is crowds at sporting events. I know it's like they're still doing like the pods or whatever, but that kid last night, or it was Sunday night baseball, he caught the ball barehanded, the foul ball. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was in the Sunday night baseball game. Unbelievable snag by that kid. That ball had to have been coming in pretty fast.
97 miles an hour.
And he one-handed.
Wow.
Yeah. And didn't drop his ice cream.
That's just the stuff you didn't get to see. The talents of people you didn't get to see with no crowds.
In that same breath, though, you've seen some people make stooges of themselves falling down.
See, that's because of the pods.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A lot of the people around them, you're more willing to go get that foul ball or home run or whatever.
Tried to jump over a couple. Well, it happened in the one Cubs game. The guy went for it and slid down the tarp and smashed his face.
I think the more full the stands get, the less you'll see that. So
100%. 100%.
It's nice to see. It's just nice to see a little bit more normalcy.
Absolutely. I'll move into my sinker, and that is crappy vacations, and I mean that in the literal sense of the term, because a man was at Gettysburg, and authorities say that he was rescued after a tree fell on him during high winds and trapped him inside of a portable toilet. So this poor guy was using a porta potty in a windstorm, and a tree above him went down and trapped him inside his, crap vault mayu, and he wasn't hurt, but they got him out. It just missed striking him. They said it could have been very serious, but he wasn't hurt.
Disagree. His pride was just shattered.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
man.
And like they said, it was a big tree, so it wasn't like they just got it off of him quickly. He was in there with you know,
Oh.
for a really long time.
Hopefully, it was a
Maggie
brand
sent
new
me a
porta potty.
video from that she saw on Instagram today. It was like with all this wind that we've been getting lately, somebody caught a video of like this like windstorm just kind of grabbed a porta potty,
Stop it.
an empty
Stop
one,
it.
launches it in the air because that thing is just like this because the door whipped open, so it
Oh,
just
yeah.
acted like a goddamn parachute, flew up in the air and fucking took off, came slamming to the ground. It was nuts, dude.
Don't
Pretty
you remember
crazy.
when Steve-O did that?
Yes.
With the porta potty? That's the worst. That's maybe the worst stunt I've seen.
That's just horrendous shit to
Oh.
do to somebody.
Oh,
Unbelievable, unspeakable acts.
We used to do everybody's done it where you pull either like a golf cart or like we had porta potties out at our high school baseball field, and we would like pull our cars in front of them so people would get trapped in there. Not you leaving for a couple minutes, but this guy was probably trapped in that thing for at least an hour. If there's one place you don't want to be trapped, it's definitely in a porta potty.
No.
Mm.
No.
Maddie, you got a sinker for us?
Yeah, I do. And I think I talked to you guys a little bit about this, but we're going through the process of buying a car. And I swear to God, if you even like go to a fucking website anymore, you enter in half of your email into a form and you stop and you cancel, they've got your full email already. They just like guessed it. All of a sudden, 30 seconds later, your phone's ringing, you're getting text.
Oh, you're gonna have 5 to 10
Jesus,
calls
dude.
the next day.
And I can tell you there's one dealer because no free ads, and I'm not giving away what we're buying yet because I don't know what we're buying yet, but we have a good idea what we might possibly be buying. And it's the one company, it's the one dealer I have not heard a peep from since we went in there.
Yep.
And we
Dulux.
were in there, and they told us we're like not the high pressure. We just say if you want to buy a car from us, if you like our cars, you'll come in and you buy a car from us. This is the way we kind of work. They're not like he says they're not commission based, so it's just like they're employees at the store, and that's where they work. So, if that's an interesting way to look at it, if that's what they do. But no, this whole dude, leave me alone, man. I didn't like the one guy in the first place. This guy will not fucking leave me alone. He will not get in. I'm not buying a car from you. I didn't like
You're
the car.
listening, buddy. Give it a rest.
Yeah, Jesus, man. But no. So yeah.
No, I feel you. I'm in the same.
By the way, sidebar, you guys were. I think you guys said I'm not a loser for buying a van, correct?
I mean, I'm still on the fence.
Absolutely not. Shut
Except
up.
for buying a van, other reasons aside, but for the reason of just buying a van sold.
Listener of the show, Nick Gons, went to Boomy's house the other night in his new minivan. Awesome.
Actually,
yeah.
There's the one we were looking at. I could literally sit in the back row. And I'm a big dude. I could sit in the second row, put my feet up, and not touch the back seat of the back of the seat in the front.
See, so that's why you have a minivan.
Full down HDMI or full down screen with the HDMI port.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can hook up an Xbox in the back
seat.
You can hook up like a Fire Stick and watch internet or watch live TV while you're driving.
Yeah.
Be sick,
wants
dude.
to go for a ride one day, hang out with you, maybe hang out in the back seat, watch some TV in the minivan.
No, you can ride in that beat up old SUV or whatever vehicle we're whoever's following, you can ride in that car.
Yeah.
I don't even have a car right now, so I can't say a whole lot.
No, you're not. Well, you ain't riding in the minivan, baby. That's for sure.
I'm gonna have to Uber wherever we go.
Oh man, those things are sweet, dude. Like everything, every there's like plugs everywhere. Like HDMI, there's USB plugs
everywhere.
Watch
TV in the back seat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Boys, my sinker. I'm sorry, Boomy, about this. Aaron Rodgers' happiness. It doesn't seem like he's very happy right now. I don't know if you saw him at the Kentucky Derby. He looked skinny. Probably hasn't been eating a lot because he's just not happy with the Packers. He does not want to be on the Packers. They're kind of holding him hostage, if you kind of think about it, Matt.
It's heartbreaking, really. I mean, it's just,
really, truthfully, I just want the best for him.
I'm crushed right now.
You guys are adorable.
It's one of the more sad ways that you could ever see a player get ousted from an organization, and what they're doing to him is really it really hurts your soul just down to the core. You just don't like it's just
if you could go back in time to last year to that draft pick, would you make it different?
Yes. Jordan.
It's beyond that. Like, and I've been a pretty big like supporter of him, and I've completely like Gutenkirst or whatever his name is. How do you screw a situation up this bad? Like, you don't deserve him as a GM if you've done like
more like going cussed. Am I right?
It's just, why don't you just walk up to him in the next meeting and just punch him in the nuts? Like, it might as
that guy sucks, dude. He really. Well, they kind of started the year before too, because he was sniffing around Drew Lock too. He wanted Drew Lock in the second round.
And I know it sounds crazy, but like he's what, 38?
36, I think.
36. He's made
MVP.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. If he doesn't want to play for a team, he'll just retire.
Yeah. Go step. It's just frustrating because like you look at it and you're like, if you would just treat your employees a certain way, you'd probably avoid a lot of this. Like all you had to do was call him and talk to him, and you couldn't do that.
And then you go out and get a defensive player again in the first round. Like you just don't get it.
No, I mean, like it's even beyond that. Like it's just like having a conversation with a guy that is literally the face of your franchise and just like talking to him and getting his input so that he feels wanted. Even if you don't take his advice, at least you had the conversation with him. And like, at least maybe you found a middle ground, but like you haven't done any of that. Like, how do you get gifted one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and you manage in 3 years to just crap all over it? Like how big of an idiot can you be? Like it just blows your mind how stupid it is.
It's just I would say it's things you hate to see.
It's just frustrating. He's made some good moves, but it's like the one guy you have to go through. And like, yeah, I get where some people are like, well, it's a 53-man roster. Like, how much does one guy? But like, it's the NFL in 2021.
It's
like,
Aaron
you have
Rodgers.
franchise quarterback, the guy who's won MVPs in Super Bowl. Like, yeah, you have to have a conversation with him. It's not that damn difficult.
He's made some good moves. He's made some questionable moves, like taking a running back in the second round when you have Aaron Jones. When you need other weapons in the aerial game. And then, I'm not going to fault Green Bay for consistently always taking defensive players in the first round. They've always needed to address their defense. It seems like every year. So you can't sit there and say that was just the wrong approach.
And they haven't missed
well, yeah. When you get guys like Devontae Adams in the second round, you get guys like Lazard late in, what was he, a sixth rounder? You hit on some productive players like the Aaron Jones was third rounder, I think, fourth rounder.
Yeah.
So it's you hit on guys like that, and it makes things a hell of a lot easier. On the first round taking defensive players. That being said, it's a bad look. And then when you go out and take a quarterback in 1 year, you do take an offensive player. It's fucking mind blowing to me, and it's just like kind of awesome. Not that it's not. Yeah, I'm ecstatic. The only thing that made me happier than Aaron Rodgers in that scenario going down on draft night was the Bears somehow swinging home like a home run and getting Justin.
Yeah, it was bad. 24 hours.
It was a phenomenal 3.5 hours for
Bears.
I'm
not gonna lie.
Quarterbacks. And Bears and quarterbacks have never had a better 3 hours in our history
ever since Sid Luckman.
Let's get into it.
You guys know, like we talk about ownership and some different teams and like the problems with management, but like this could have it's so basic. It's just like a human to human conversation that you could have had. It's not like this deep thing. It literally could have been solved with a conversation.
Well, the thing is Aaron Rodgers is a smart guy, and if you go to him and you say, "Hey, look, we're in a similar position to where we were when we drafted you."
Yes,
and we're in that position where, hey, we've got like a lot of pieces around to be able to compete. We have a little bit of a luxury that we can take a first round quarterback and kind of mold him in your background. And hey, if you're still around, great. Then we'll package him up and get a hell of a boatload of assets for him.
Yes.
Otherwise, then once you're off and done, then we're able to continue our franchise and without skipping a beat. You approach it that way, fine. You approach it where you don't talk to them, you don't negotiate contracts, you start sniffing around other quarterbacks. That's when a guy goes out, wins an MVP, has a lot of leg to stand on to being pissed off. So
I don't blame Aaron
they've kind
Rodgers
of
for any of this. Like,
he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He gets to call the shots at this point, unfortunately.
exactly. He's more
Brian
than earned it.
Gutekunst.
But let's, in that same vein, obviously we've talked a little bit about it, but you guys moving up from 20, picking arguably one of the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the draft. You guys finally have, I shouldn't say finally. That sounded worse than it is, but you guys have a guy now, and you have like you said earlier, hope for the future. And I'll be honest, even as a Packers fan, I absolutely loved the Justin Fields pick. I thought that,
I couldn't believe it.
I didn't think he had it in.
It was a savvy move. It was a move that good teams make.
Yes.
It's also
absolutely.
a move that a guy who's trying to save his job makes too.
Well, they traded a year, or they traded a first rounder for a 1-year extension, because there's no way you can't give him 2 years right now with Justin Fields. So Nagy and Pace both bought themselves an extra year on top of this upcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
They basically got 2 years now. They said, fine, we'll give us the first rounder, give us the quarterback. Hey, we got a part now. We got a part. You got to let us go. You got to let us go.
Yep.
And, the McCaskey family doesn't want to pay 2 quarterbacks and 2 GMs either, or two head coaches and 2 GMs. So, I don't see this thing ending with Nagy and Pace anytime soon now. That being said, let's go back to the exciting part. Justin Fields, we got a quarterback, dual threat, hell of an athlete. I like how tough he was, dude, and how tough he is. Played hurt, played with played tough competition, played a physical.
He's proven
defense
himself in college football
against high talented teams.
Yeah, he's won at the highest level. And he's proven himself. It's nice to see that there's film from when he played college football that proves that he's a good quarterback and that he knows what he's doing and stuff like it's something that it seems like the Bears kind of overlook sometimes.
Well, it's so much of it is it's the kind of guy the Bears just never have. Mm-hmm. They just don't ever have that kind of player. You know what I mean? Where it's like almost the envy of the rest of the league, where it's like every team's trying to get a quarterback with a similar skill set. That can make plays with his feet, make plays downfield with a big arm, tough, smart. And the Bears finally got it. And they had to, sacrifice a, first rounder next year, some later picks, as well, 3rd and 5th, I think it was. But,
I know it's a team sport, but he beat the number 1 overall pick in the, what do you call it?
Semifinal.
Yeah.
It was the national semifinal.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I know it's a team game and there's a lot that goes into it, but he played amazing that game.
Yes,
he did there, and then also in the Big Ten title game when he was hurt, and he cracked rib and just gutted out a big win, and against a tough team in Northwestern. So, I don't know.
It's just nice that we made the right decision.
I'm excited because I think with having Darnell Mooney and Robinson hopefully gets the contract situation worked out, and
maybe they'll actually get the ball to Allen Robinson, who's arguably the second best wide receiver in the division.
Arguably, yeah. I think you can make that argument with that he's probably a top 10 in the league at this point if he has, certain weapons around him.
The ball to him,
yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think the talent's there. I don't know what the defense is going to look like, but the one I do want to add too, the Bears got a later pick, Daz Newsome, that wide receiver from North Carolina's got a lot of talent, and the guy who played a lot of football and a lot of Division I football, and if he could be kind of a sneaky good player, another good fit for that team too. Another weapon for Fields as well. So, the offensive line was big.
Not to move on from Fields too much, but I'll be honest, I think I like the 2nd round pick just as much as I like the 1st round pick. Picking up, I think they traded a little bit to pick up Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. They went and got their quarterback, and then their next 2 picks in the draft, they pick up an offensive tackle, and then they also picked up another offensive tackle, Larry Borum, out of Missouri in the 5th round. I mean, if you're going to put it all out there, you're going to trade up and get a quarterback. Whether he plays immediately or not, you at least have I think that Jenkins is one of the better linemen in this draft. You at least have him protected. Maybe, hopefully, you don't end up in a Joe Burrow situation where he's laying on the ground the entire season. So, love that pick from the Bears as well.
Yeah, both of them with a little
I
bit of a
love
mean
the whole
streak, too.
Bears draft.
It's you, and it seems like everybody did. It seems like everywhere you look, all the reporters, all the grades are really high on what they did. It's one of those things where this organization needed an injection of like something. They needed something positive when they're tweeting out.
They got Andy Dalton. They go, oh, here's QB1.
QB1,
and
give me
everyone
this
was like,
bullshit.
they're like, what? What's going on here? We wanted Russell Wilson. And then draft night happens, and it seems like that just all went away.
Yep.
Which I'm okay with for now.
Like I said, a little bit of excitement goes a long way for this position and this team. And, the sky's the limit with the kid. I'm really, really pumped to have him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's move on to some sadder news. The Cubs are at 12-16 right now, last place in the NL Central. One of the most inconsistent offenses. We've talked about this a million times. And they get the Dodgers for 2 games on Tuesday and then a game on Wednesday. So this is getting really fun. This is a great way to start the summer.
Awesome.
It's just seeming like the rotation it's going to be tough.
Yeah. You scored 12 runs on Sunday and you still lose.
Bright spots are Adbert's looking good. Nico was playing pretty well before he got hurt.
AB was NL Player of the Week.
Is looking amazing right now. He was player
of
the
third
month.
in OPS for the first month of the season, I believe. So
yeah.
But like they scored 12 runs, they give up 13.
Yeah.
They go on games where they win. They go up, like I said, they win 12-2, and then they can't score for freaking 3 days. So it's one of those things. This team is so inconsistent, and it's just everything just can't come together all at once.
Starting pitching is not going to be the strong suit for this team if they're going to make a run either. So
no, and
really
like when your top 2 guys in Arrieta and Hendricks are getting lit up like a birthday cake,
I know Hendricks is usually a slow starter, but man, seems like a little bit more excessive than typically normal.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
On the other side of town, the White Sox sit at 15-12, currently in second in the NL or the AL Central. But some more bad news this week. Luis Robert is going to be out at least a month or two. Kind of an ugly, gross-looking play running to first. I believe that was on Sunday, and announced today he'll be out for maybe they said 12 to 16 weeks. I might be.
Yeah, it's a hip flexor.
Yeah.
It looked very painful when it happened. And they're still evaluating to see if he needs surgery or not. But at least 12 to 16 weeks, which is, when is that?
3 to
4 months.
3 to 4 months. We're looking at August, September, probably. Really, when
you already don't have Eloy, and now you don't have Luis Robert. Arguably your 2 best young talents.
Yeah. Between Eloy and Robert, I mean that's the heart of your order from what production standpoint of what you're expected to be, carrying in your lineup for
not saying you can't win the division, but it's just getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah. I mean, their pitching's been outstanding, frankly, with it's then as expected. But man, I mean, with what Rodon's doing, I think Kopech is really starting to look a little bit more what Kopech, what you were hoping to see, Sox fans, when he was coming up a couple years ago. You'd like to see Giolito get back a little bit better overall from what he's giving you this year, but he pitched pretty well last night. But man, that lineup, if people are going to keep getting hurt, you lose one or two more guys. Tim Anderson just got back, but lineup's been taking some lumps. We'll put it that way.
And I mean, what they've gotten out of Yermin Mercedes has been incredible, but he's not 400 the whole season. Like, at some point, that water's going to find its level. Like, you've got to find other ways. They're going to have to start utilizing Andrew Vaughn at some point. I mean, he's still not consistent.
I'm glad you mentioned him, and it's interesting what people, the White Sox fans especially, are getting a little bit upset with the usage and the way, it's like if you're not going to let him hit every day here, let him go back down and get swings every day.
Yeah.
Which I understand that thinking. That's where a little bit of the Tony La Russa, the old school mentality, where I think some people were a little bit worried about him, taking over for the Sox.
Well, and that's another thing coming out this week with kind of the patience wearing thin with Tony La Russa. Christ, we're a month into the season.
Yeah.
But that'll happen
it's
with
a heated
any
fan
team
base.
that's
Only
supposed-
someone could have foresaw this coming.
But I know what you're saying, though. But I also think that's any team that's supposed to get off to a hot start, doesn't get off to a hot start.
High expectations.
You got to blame somebody.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's doing anything
place.
right either. I mean, maybe the lineup changes are weird or whatever, but it's going to happen when you're not living up to expectations, which they're playing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean,
but they said the Luis Robert injury that's tough.
Yeah,
not good.
It's one thing to lose one of your best hitters, but then to lose two within like 6 of each other. That's hopefully they can bounce back. They do have a high-powered offense that can hit, but man, like you said, they keep dropping guys. It's not good. Speaking of another thing that's not good, the Blackhawks have been officially eliminated from the playoffs. Lasted a hell of a lot longer than I would have expected 6 months ago, but still,
it ended so badly though. It ended so bad tonight. When they were playing the Panthers,
Carolina. They were playing Carolina tonight.
Yeah, the Hurricanes. Sorry. That was a very good team. No, but you could tell the difference between teams there.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, the Blackhawks have a lot of work to do. With not a lot to work with.
Well, you needed the lottery to work out in your favor. You need to get a good pick. You need to need to hopefully get back in the top 5 again and get another high-end talent because frankly, that's where they're lacking. They've got good parts. They've got some good young pieces. They don't have any young, like, true studs outside of, like, Kirby Dach. Like, Kirby Dach could be a young, like, kind of like a cornerstone. Outside of him, though, you need some more like, kind of all-star level players. And the Brinket's about there, but, not a lot of other young talent there from that high-end young talent.
Yeah, there's not some stud waiting in Rockford.
Yeah, it was just
young parts.
A bad way to end, though. It just, the season's not over, but it got bad.
Yeah.
Well, it felt like for like good stretches probably in February that they're almost looking like a lock to make the playoffs, and kind of wheels fell off too, and you got a little bit of an injection when Doc came back, but
they went on a losing streak, and they could just not. They were either going to overtime, they were giving up points still to teams that they shouldn't be, and they just couldn't make up any ground.
That loss last week to Detroit was deadly. It really was. Those are the games you can't lose when you're in a playoff stretch. You really can't.
Another team that's going to miss the playoffs. Bulls are currently 3.5 out of a playoff spot.
Ugly finish to the season.
And not to pour salt on the wound or anything, but the Bulls also do not have a first-round draft pick this year. So people saying, well, maybe they can move up in the draft. Well, it doesn't matter because that pick is going to Orlando. Better hope that AK and the rest of the front office can figure out free agency.
I believe it's top 4 protected, though. So if they do somehow win the lottery, then they still get it if it's top 4.
It's only top 4. Is that what it is, Maddie?
I believe so.
Well, let's hope.
Yep. Maybe a couple cold envelopes for both the Hawks and the Bulls this offseason. Get our turned around.
Won't get any complaints out of us, that's for sure. Let's move into our segments. Obviously, like we said earlier, this is our 100th episode, so we're going to do 2 TCF top 3s. We're going to start off with this one, and this is the top 3 of things with 100, the top 3 100. So, Matt, you get first pick since you brought the topic up.
What's better, boys, than an old-fashioned $100 bill? Just a $100 bill. I mean, obviously multiple, but just somebody like that's where you go to the casino and say, "Hey, I want."
The casino is where you mostly see the
anything. Like the 100's the threshold for anything at this point. Really, it's like if You want to bet? Yeah, won $100. It was a nice day, nice bet. You get somebody hands you $100 bill, boom.
Well,
You got that.
especially like
one
when
solid
you're like at a
$100
gas
bill.
station or something, you're
Powerful.
like, or like somewhere that you probably shouldn't be using $100 bill,
Yeah.
but I only have 100.
All I
Here
got
you
is
go.
100. I'm sorry. Can you break it? You know, it's there's just come on. It's $100 bill. Who doesn't like a
Great
$100?
pick. Remember, like when we were little and we thought $100 bills or $100 bill was might as well have been like a $10,000 bill. Those were the good days.
It was almost fake. You know.
Oh yeah. I don't think I saw $100 bill till I was like 15.
Yep.
At least not on my own anymore.
$100 bill, y'all.
Zach, I'll give you a second pick. What's your top 3 100 item?
I love to golf, and I know it sounds bad, but breaking 100 in golf.
Yeah. There you go.
I know.
That's like your first target. That's like your first time you play golf. That's what you want to. That's your first milestone.
Yeah, and even you have a bad day, you're like, I just want to break 100.
I get that. I agree.
I'm not saying that's good golf by any means, but it'll at least keep you coming back the next day.
All right, so I'm going to go with my first one. I'm going to go football fields because they are 100 yards. Don't give me the end zone stuff. They're 100 yards. All right.
Just a nice, just a pretty looking painted, fresh grass, fresh paint, checkered end zone kind of football field.
You know it when you see it. You know a football field. It doesn't look like any other field. Know it.
Are you thinking? Is this a nighttime? Is this a daytime?
I've got my eyes on like Friday Night Lights. It's like 6 o'clock, sun starting to go down. You got the lights getting ready to flicker on.
Purple skyish, that kind of
Yes.
that kind of okay. All right, got you.
Some red and orange streaks in the sky. You know, it's a little brisk, a little bit of bite in the air, but it's still
jet stream kind of breaks up the clouds a little bit there, right above you. It's about the 35-yard line.
We should start an ASMR podcast. We're painting a picture, boys.
Yeah.
My second round pick, I'm going to go with the 100-point Big Mac coupons at the Bulls game.
Those were
good
awesome.
One. I like that.
That was, you're sitting there at like 98, 99. You're like, we just need one more bucket. There's, 33 seconds
left. It was always Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah was like a legend at getting that 100th point.
Absolutely. Those were the
game. And then you always had to go to the local Chicagoland McDonald's. So you had to get it at 11 o'clock after the Bulls game.
And if your dad was anything like mine, he knew where the closest one was because he's driven by it like 8 times. And he's like, yep, we're going to the one off of this exit. And they close it at midnight. So we got to make sure we're there by then. Everybody get your coupons out. He had a plan. Zach, what's your second round choice?
I'm going to go with the 100th episode of a TV show because that's when most likely it's a great show.
That's like a good benchmark.
Bad shows get 100 episodes.
Mm-hmm. I said the 100th episode.
You can say that about podcasts. Hey,
True.
Idiots with the microphones, boys.
That's a self roast right there, huh?
Most shows even call it the 100th episode.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, great choice.
Definitely, I think it's a great benchmark. I think you're absolutely right. No one's paying for that anymore, especially with how much YouTube, Netflix, all the options. People aren't going to pay for something that just continually sucks. So I think it's a good call. For mine, I'm going to go. And I've never been there, but I got to feel like the first time you throw a fastball. You look at that radar gun and it clicks over to the 0-0. That's got to be an outstanding feeling. So throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe
that makes my shoulder hurt just thinking about it.
That's got to be pretty sick feeling right there.
The first thing you got to do the big ball dance as you walk off the mound. That's got to
it'd be like. I don't know. You almost want to blow off your fingers a little bit. It's like the smoke coming off them. But no, I don't know. That'd be a badass feeling.
That'd be so awesome.
And then the other one, I'm gonna go with. God, I got a couple here that I'm thinking about, but I think I like Zach's with that. The breaking 100 in golf was good. You know what? I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna go with driving 100.
No, I had that down.
You know what? I'm not. Yep, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. I'll take it. That's stupid. I can't not take it. Yeah,
good
driving
choice.
100. I think that first time you do that, that's got to be that's one of the bigger adrenaline rushes I think I've probably ever had. You know, that first time you like look down, the speedometer's got a hundo there. Sorry, Mom, but it did happen once or twice.
Yeah, you got to test it out. I mean, at least once.
It's a pretty cool feeling. Not gonna lie.
In a car that probably shouldn't be going 100
probably shouldn't on a road that all of a sudden a tractor's gonna pull out in front of you, and who fucking knows what happens? But this is what it is.
Zach, what's your final top 100?
The 100th day of school. You're getting probably 80 days left. You're about a little over halfway through.
I didn't realize that was a thing until recently. Like that's like a celebration now.
Oh yeah.
Kids dress up like they're 100 years old on the 100th day of school. I've seen a lot of that. Yeah,
that's a big day. That means you're getting close to summer break. Doesn't mean you're there yet, but you're getting close. And you're most likely. Is it usually warm?
Nah, it's usually like end of February, early March-ish.
March Madness.
Not true. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to go total hardo, and I'm going to go with the 100-pound dumbbells. This is the first time you bench press those. That's pretty sweet. I still got a video of the first time I did it, and I don't think I can do it right now. Yeah, 100%. I don't think I could do it right now. I haven't worked up that heavy a weight, but the 100-pound dumbbells are always calling your name.
I
can't wait to try that someday.
We'll get there, Maddie. We'll get
a dream. Are you going to have a dream, Maddie?
What's
Just
that?
like me, are you gonna have a dream that you're doing it?
Sometimes I dream.
Yeah, the only way I'm doing that.
Oh man! If you've got any,
I'm working out a little bit, and I tried to go over there and just be funny. Not even close. That is.
I think 100th birthday party's got to be a fucking fire.
Oh yeah,
fire event. No.
Nah.
Or it's just like. I mean, you're just like looking at the clock counting down at that point.
I feel like once you turn 100, no loss inside of you.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you should be able to just say do whatever.
At 100, are you like another fucking birthday? Really?
Yeah. I think that one would be interesting.
Another one.
There was an old game show with Bob Saget, 1 versus 100. That was a good game show.
Yeah,
I have 100 grand candy bar. I think is a really good candy bar as well.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
I said the 100 emoji.
That's got to be one of the top used of all time. For sure.
I also wrote down 100-win baseball seasons because your team is going to the play.
Good. Another good bench.
Or having 100 RBIs in a season.
100 RBIs is a good threshold. I like it.
Will Chamberlain's 100-point game.
That was one I had as well. Yeah. I think that was pretty good ones. I think we all had that.
Yeah, not bad, fellas. Let's move into
the game that you scored in maybe in high school. Somehow you scored 100 points. Like a high school basketball game, if you scored 100 points, you're never.
When you played some like rinky-dink school and like somehow you guys scored 100, just because like you just that's a good one too. Let's move into our media recommendations. For those of you that don't know, these are anything media-related: TV shows, movies, podcasts, video games, you name it. I'll go ahead and start. I got a TV show and a podcast. I probably mentioned this series before, but it's a kind of a different version. But it's Last Chance U. They have a basketball one out now. I just kind of got into it. It's been out for a little bit. Obviously, the football ones were great. Loved those. But this one is a little bit different. So it's at a smaller, it's a smaller team. There's less guys, so they can get a little bit more personal. Obviously, like I said, the football ones are great. This one's good as well. Make sure you check that out on Netflix. And the last one I have is a podcast called the 11.7 podcast. And I think I talked about this on a prior dumb ideas or something, but it's a college baseball podcast, and they go into they have their top 25. Obviously, they also have their bottom 25 teams in the country, which is kind of funny to listen to, and then they also do the mid majors. I love college baseball. There's nothing better on a Saturday, Sunday, if you got a second or third TV, popping one of those games on. But it's called the 11.7 podcast. I highly recommend if you have any interest in college baseball. It's also, they talk about, like prospects with the draft coming up. Pretty interesting stuff. So make sure you check out 11.7 podcast. Zach, what is your media recommendation?
Mine is a TV show on A&E. It's WWE's Most Wanted Treasures. And the first episode was Mick Foley. And what they do is they go and somehow the shirt he was wearing in one of the matches gets sold to a random collector, and they go to that guy's house and try and buy it back because the WWE has this big warehouse now. It's a museum of stuff that was collectibles from the WWE and all the history of it.
That's cool.
The second one was The Undertaker and Kane.
The brothers.
Well, yes, they were brothers. Kane was burned, I think.
Yep.
WWE was awesome.
God, what
The
a
storylines were insane.
Undertaker was just unbelievable. God.
The walkout.
Take me back.
The walkout was just gives you chills every single time.
I wasn't even a big wrestling guy, but I was legitimately upset when I found out they weren't real brothers in real life.
Nothing was crazier than when it just went dark in the arena, and the next thing you know, Undertaker was just standing.
When you hear the gong,
yes,
you're like, whoa, where's he at?
But the only thing better was the glass breaking from Stone Cold. That was the only other beginning of the music was otherwise it was those were neck and neck.
Great choice. Matt, what do you got for us on Media Rex this week?
All right, I got a podcast, and I'm not a big fan of the host of the podcast, his general podcast that he does. It's Kirk Minahan. But I've been listening to the true crime podcast that he did, and it's called The Case. Yeah, thank you, Zach. Outstanding.
Really? I haven't really got into it yet, but I've seen snippets of it, and it seems unbelievable.
The story's nuts. The story's absolutely crazy, but I got to give Minahan credit too, because he's a radio pro, and he knows when his regular content that he does is he does a lot of it for entertainment, does a lot of it just to kind of get a reaction from people. Is what he is. Super smart dude though. You can tell you can tell he's kind of a crazy brain, and the way he's just kind of talks to people in this, the way he kind of explains what's going on, for somebody who doesn't do this or hasn't done this before, it is phenomenal. And I'm not a huge true crime fan, but so obviously being into a lot of Barstool podcasts, you hear a lot about a lot of suggestions to it. So that's why I checked it out, and it has not disappointed. It's been an outstanding story, cool approach from Minahan on it, and it's fascinating. Every Monday we get excited right now when the new episode pops in. So that, and then got HBO Max recently. So I've been popping through some of the documentaries on there, and this one's a little bit older. It's from 2018, I think, and I think it originally aired on CNN, but it's a 4-parter called 1968. And it just breaks down the year of 1968, which was just a wild ride for the U.S.
Is that the National Convention year?
Yeah, the Democratic Convention year, but then Robert Kennedy was assassinated. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Vietnam was ramping up like crazy then. Lyndon Johnson just announced in the middle of a speech that he wasn't going to run for president. It was just a wild run. A lot of things happened that year. Woodstock was in 1968 as well. Prepping for the Apollo 11 mission was all. I think that mission took place in 69, early in 69, I believe. But so all the prep work was done in 68. So it's just a year of just crazy stuff. It's a 4-part documentary. I think each episode's an hour. Went through just kind of broke up the year in quarters. So kind of based on the season almost. So it's pretty cool. Really fascinating to look back.
Right on. I'm gonna have to check that out. That's right up my alley.
Yeah.
Also, HBO Max, we've got that, and I watched Godzilla versus Kong. And if you can't just enjoy a crazy CGI movie that's just visually pleasing, you just have a big dump in your pants because that was a fun movie. I don't care like the whole backstory. It was just a fun movie to watch. Quit hating on movies that are cool. All right.
You want another wild ride on HBO? Let's go watch the QAnon documentary.
Oh, you were telling me about that.
Boy,
completely different kind of wild ride. But
yeah,
I'm definitely going to get on
wild
that.
ride.
All right, boys, we have our everyday Madden ratings this week, and we are doing it a little bit different. I've got 5 Chicago jerseys that you are going to give me on your Madden scale of 1 to 100. So let's get started with the Bulls black pinstripes. What do you got for me on your Madden ratings on the Bulls black pinstripe jerseys?
I'll give it like a 70.
Ooh.
I
Maddie?
like them, but
I could not agree with your sentence about them more. I would say right in that same range. I can't say the exact same number, so I'm just gonna say like a 73. Not a huge fan.
I love them. They almost remind me of like the Jordan era ones. They're close. Obviously they have, a couple different touches, but I think that's like an 83 for me. I love those jerseys. I don't know what it is. Just a big fan. Let's move to the Cubs road blues. I know this is, some people argue grays versus blues. I personally much more prefer the blues. I'm going to go like a 79 on the Cubs blues.
I'm going to go with like a 58. They're kind of boring.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm a little bit lower on them.
We're not talking like the 70s road ones where it was like
Nope.
the baby blue one, right? Okay.
Nope,
So we're talking
just the ones they have
solid
right now.
blue with the bear and the sea, right?
Yep.
I'm going to say a 63. Not
Just
impressed.
boring.
Yeah, it feels like a batting practice jersey. That's what I always felt about it. It always felt like it was like their BP jersey or something.
Yeah, they leave a little bit to be desired. I like the blue. I'm a big fan, but I felt like there's something more they could do with that. I know like back in the 90s, they had the script. I know a lot of people didn't like that. I love the script, but because it did look like
that was so 90s. It was like it was quintessential 1990s baseball right there.
I have one right over there, and it literally looks like it says Cuba, not Cubs. It's just a little strange.
He's rocking the Castro jersey.
Yeah, no kidding. Yikes. This is probably one of the more quintessential ones. The Hawks Reds. Sweaters, not jerseys.
I'm going to give that like an 85. Those things are awesome.
Where's the fire emoji when you need it? Because I would say 92, 93. I think it's the
Those
best.
Those things are
the
amazing.
Best. I think it's the best.
I love them.
I think it's the best everyday, not of the non-alternatives or retros or anything.
Yeah.
I think it's the best one in Chicago. Just their best day-to-day jersey there is.
I'm going to go with an 80, and it's because I love them. But here's my issue. I wear a lot of jerseys, and red is just not a flattering color when there's that much red. I look like the Kool-Aid man every time I wear a red jersey.
That's why I bought the white for myself.
That's what I have.
Yeah, I wear a white one, but I prefer the red look.
All right, let's move into it. One I know Maddie hates, but the Bears orange alternatives. What do you guys think?
30.
Like a 40. A 40.
Yeah. Get rid of it.
I don't like them.
Is it just because they don't play well in them, or you don't like they look cool?
They don't look that cool.
No, they don't. They don't look cool at all.
I don't like
white
colors on my football team.
The ones I like the solid navy blue with the block orange letter and the solid blue helmet with no logo or anything. Those are the ones I like. The old school ones. Just the plain ones almost, dude. I think those look sick.
This thing is too much.
It's like a 67 for me. I like the orange. I like the brighter colored stuff. But and last one, the socks.
You like green and yellow. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I like bright colors. What?
Gross colors.
It's his cheery nature. Come on.
Yeah, I'm just a bright guy. The socks. Oh, that is a fact. Socks Sunday Hitman uniforms. What do you guys have?
Make a 55. 60.
What?
Eh. Eh.
I think this is the problem. We've let Boomy pick his 5 favorite jerseys, and then every time we poop on him, he gets
So
mad at him.
we're just talking the whites with just the solid blue across the chest that says socks on it, right? That's all it is. It's like basically their 80s, mid-80s look that they had.
Yeah.
I like the hat better. I like the hat better than the jersey, if that makes sense. I think the hat's a cooler look with the multicolored panel look to it. I think is interesting. I don't know. I think I want them to wear the shorts again like they had in the 80s with those things too. I think that's a better approach.
No,
I think
awful.
I think the socks need to go back to the shorts and that jersey. I think would be a
Imagine
good
if like
fit for
somebody had
them.
it slide.
Yeah, that's my point. Just go back to the
Gotta
shorts.
go ahead first.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I'm going with like
Get some dirt in that jock, boys.
Those are I'm a Cubs fan and I own a Sox Sunday jersey.
I don't hate it. I didn't give a rating even. I'll say a 74.
Okay. And the only reason I own it is because it's a Michael Jordan one. So
Yeah, it's
and add it to my Jordan collection.
It's a decent looking jersey. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Chicago is that's one thing the city is lacking. It's good unis, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
I like the '80s Cub ones where it was just like the blue pinstripes, and they didn't have a name, and they just had like solid block numbers on the back. I think those were fire. I think those were really cool. The Cubs baby blues in the '70s were pretty sweet. I think, like I said, the Bears where they have the solid navy with like only the orange numbers and that's it. And then Boomy's sneezing. Is he gonna hold it? Is he gonna hold it? And then they got the striped pants with those too. I think those look awesome. Blackhawks, the old school retro, the black one with the throwback logo in the center.
It's like the cream logo in the middle.
Yeah, it's got the string. It's got the string tie around the neck.
Yeah.
That's the one Maggie's got. It was a Winter Classic jersey. Kane. That one is absolute.
I think the Bulls, like Jordan's rookie one with the script Chicago.
Yeah, that script is good. That's way better than that Cubs script you were throwing at us a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
That was just like an era of just shitty Bulls basketball too, but there was so much hope then too. Whereas like that script screams hope.
And like you had those with the Jordan ones, like what a look.
That shitty Cubs script you were talking about, that screams Sammy Sosa pre-roids is what that screams. Yes. They were like, he was like 28 to 35 homers, and all of a sudden it was like, he's got a lot more talent now. Let's get rid of this shitty script and let's give him a nice reunion again.
It was all because of the uniform. I
think it's the uni.
Well, let's wrap things up. We have our TCF top 3 of TCF Guests and Moments to celebrate episode 100. Let's see. Who went? Matt went first. The last one. Zach, you get to go first here.
My first moment is when Boomy forgot his wacky web story on Christmas Eve. I'll never forget it. I will never forget the day where I go, hey, Boomy, do you have a wacky web story? No, I do not. On Christmas Eve.
Not my fault. You didn't put it in the show plan.
I never do. It's always been the one thing.
At that point, you were putting it in the show plan. Wow. Now we don't.
I've never been able to stop thinking about that.
That's a stretch for 1-1. You could have got that in the third round.
Oh, mine are good.
All right, Matt, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with a personal moment, and that was the first time I was on an interview with Frank the Tank. Just an absolute game-changing experience that you just never know is going to hit you. You never know what he's going to say, what if he's going to start busting out into song, or if he's going to what he's going to say or do. So I think the first time, at least like with Dom or something, you would kind of know what he's going to come at you with. Frank, you don't know.
Yeah, that's why he's an entertainer.
Yeah, yeah. So that was probably like the one of the more like crazy moments for me. Was just the kind of eye-opening experience.
My first round pick has got to be one we're getting ready to redo, and that was the TCF road trip up to Wisconsin, or was it? Yeah, up through that area. We stayed in Green Bay at Fine Establishment, and then we went over to the Sheboygan A's game, did a bunch of video content. I love getting out on the road, doing road trips, and saw a meth deal going on. No big deal. Keep it moving. It is what it is, but that was an absolute blast. Absolutely love that trip. Can't wait to get back out on the road again. My second round pick, I'm going to go with a guest. Man, there's some really good ones to choose from. I've got to go with probably one of my Dave Williamson, who is a comedian.
He was on my list too.
Okay.
He sent me a little signed CD of his stand up after we did the show. So yeah, the
Hilarious guy.
Dave Williamson. He's actually going on a barbecue tour, isn't he?
Yeah. His podcast, Meet Dave, is incredible. I listen to it all the time. And he was, it was great to talk to him. I love stand-up comedy. And he was great to talk to. So it's probably one of my favorite interviews we've done.
It's Maddie.
Matt. Yep.
My next one is when Zach and I think we hit I want to say it was like a $250 Exacta.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? The one shot we hit,
I didn't know what was going on.
The show, and all of a sudden, things escalated. It was a cheapie, and we hit 2 long shots for first and second. I don't know.
Was that like the beginning of the quarantine when we were doing shows?
We were doing Korean horses, we were doing Australian horses, we were doing Japanese horses. That was
explain to me what I even won.
Yeah, so that was it was a monster hit for a very, very cheap buy, and it was like a 20-1 and a 7-1 on an Exacta somehow, and worked out well. Picked it one solely off of names when we were probably a little bit inebriated doing a late night recording in the middle of quarantine. So I think that was peak right there.
I'm gonna go with Dom Frederick. We've had him on I don't know how many times. He
1,000.
has the Morale blend, which I have right here, which is now in the Wrigley Field clubhouse, the Chicago Cubs clubhouse, which is awesome. But he's been on so many times. We had him on when we were on SoundCloud before we even got to the episodes that started the 100 episodes. He's always come on whenever we asked him. And it's crazy to see where he's come from the first time we interviewed him to now, collabing with Ian Happ, but he's already collabed with Kyle Schwarber, the Bad News stuff, Yu Darvish. It's just awesome to see.
One of our first guests, like you said, and I remember at the time we were like, holy cow, it's crazy. This guy's got like 8,000 followers. Now he's got 20,000 followers. He still comes on,
he's such a nice guy
from time to time.
Like I said, we do the interview with him and we'll talk to him for 20-30 minutes after and before.
Yeah.
He's just an awesome, nice guy.
He's literally just like talking to one random dude that you've been friends with forever, just like any other guy that you ever met. Just so normal, so cool, so chill.
And then my last pick is going to be the first show that did not work with me and Gamer. We did it in my basement. We were both on 2 separate computers. I don't even know what we thought was going to happen. Did not work at all. I think the next night or the night after that, me and Boomy recorded with my computer just sitting in the middle of the 2 of us, and we were just talking. We didn't even really know if that was going to work. But the first show that I don't even know if I have it anymore.
Yeah, I think that file got corrupted or something. I think it even
my computer. That computer just didn't work anymore.
Yeah, but the actual lost file.
Yeah, the lost files of the TCF.
Maddie, what do you got for your?
You gotta go back. You gotta go back to the SoundCloud days here soon. I think mine is gonna be when we started doing the small business shout outs, and I said Lodi for our first one, and all of a sudden they hit us up. They sent us free food. They gave us gave us free meal and stuff right from the get-go of the quarantine. So that was pretty cool to get some engagement with a local business, especially at a time when everything was so screwed up in the world. And So they were really cool to us, I thought. And, food's still outstanding there. Tons of cool drinks and stuff too. So really cool people. So I thought that was a pretty cool moment as well for us.
Couldn't agree more. I was just there a couple of weekends ago. I'll go last. I'll get a little sentimental. Interviewing my dad for our first ever Local Legends was pretty cool. He's been probably one of our biggest supporters since day one. So getting to get him on the show and talk about all the stuff that he's done, and kind of thank him for his support over the last 3 years was pretty cool. And like I said, all the guests we've had, I've got a list here super long. I'll run through some of them. We didn't hit on Cam McDonald, who's playing at Illinois right now. Joe Ostrowski. Let's see, Eddie and Chief and White Sox Dave, all from Barstool, Chicago. Herb Lawrence, KJ Schultz we had on during the quarantine. Nikolai Wozniak, whose dad was the security guard in The Last Dance, Dr. Daniel, who came on for our Local Legends, my friend Gilly, Jacob Chandler, those early days. He was the guy who started the Try Not to Suck shirts, and Danny Parkins. I think I've got everybody. If I forgot, I apologize. But, obviously we've had a huge list of some really great interviews. Anything ever we missed, boys?
I almost was gonna take the interview for your dad, but I'm like, I gotta leave that for Boomy.
I would have found it so funny if one of you guys.
I almost did, because it was a great interview. It really was. But no, I thought that would have been funny. Just gonna be
that would have been hilarious. Yeah,
I didn't really
actually want his dad. That was
I thought better about it. So no, I thought that was a great interview. I did think that the interview with Dr. Daniel too. I thought that was awesome. I thought he seems like a pretty cool
smart.
Too, so yeah. Really, a lot of the stuff that you guys have done before, I joined
and that's
and started recording with you guys too, was a lot of those things were really cool, and I think some good content you guys did.
Yeah, and obviously teaming up with Maddie after the Loop Sports days, and kind of moving from SoundCloud to joining them. We enjoyed our time with the Loop Sports, and that ended, and then Maddie kind of jumped on with us, so that was some very exciting times, as we were, like I said, we were on SoundCloud for, what was it about a year, right around there, Zach, before we teamed up with.
I think
we're all good rappers start, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true.
That's what we're going to do next. After episode 100, we're going to start working on a rap album. Make sure
we're going to switch gears and turn into a rap group.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Boys, did we forget anything else on the TCF top 3 of TCF stuff?
I don't think so.
I think, like I said earlier, thanks to everyone who has supported us through the last 100-plus episodes, if you include the SoundCloud days. Anyone who's listened to a podcast, subscribed, liked one of the social media pages, it means the world, because we're just 3
buffoons,
idiots on a microphone. Have some fun. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So thank you, anyone who's bought a shirt, shown any support, shared a post, retweet, whatever the case is. We can't thank you enough. But that was episode 100 of Typical Chicago Fans. Thank you to our friends over at 26 Shirts. They've been with us a long time. Make sure you head over to 26shirts.com/Chicago. Use promo code Typical Chicago Fans, 15% off of your order. Their shirts are incredible. I can't say enough about them. Their shirts, their hoodies, whatever you need, 26shirts.com/Chicago, promo code Typical Chicago Fans. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Typical_Chicago, YouTube page. Subscribe there. Subscribe, rate, review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, Spreaker. Wherever you get your podcasts, they're there. Make sure you follow the guys here tonight. That is Zach at Lulia TCF, Maddie, of course, at schools_01, and I am Boomy at Boomy TCF. Thank you for joining us. That was episode 100 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Bear down.